We're going to start the Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting, March 21st, 2018. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move to item 2, approval of the minutes, March 7th, 2018.
Make a motion to approve?
Second, sorry.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Let's vote. All in favor?
Okay, I'm,
You with us now?
yep, I'm with you.
Okay.
It's like a Monday or something.
Item 3, review of treasurer's warrants. Payroll, number 31, 33, accounts payable, 29, 30, 32, and 34.
Make a motion to approve payroll number 31, 33, and accounts payable 29, 30, 32, and 34.
Second?
Any further discussion? None? All in favor? Unanimous? Vote. Open session? Would anyone like to speak? Moving along. Selectmen's concerns.
One,
There we go.
I was asked if possible, if we could, at town meeting, postpone the lunch until the meeting is done.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't like to attend the lunch and they feel that we lose residents because they don't want to do the lunch and they leave because of it and they're not coming back for voting.
So you specifically have people come and say, I don't want to break for lunch.
Correct.
Is that what they did last year?
Well, last year we went.
It was done.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Before
done
lunch.
before what
It
would
was
lunchtime
done.
would be.
Yeah,
So
so actually,
Right.
it turned into brunch.
Yeah,
I mean, which would be nice to
I don't
think that that would be the
I don't know.
same this year, but
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I guess the only time you would get, if
If it
your
got
meeting
really
goes to
late.
5,
Then
then
you
people will be
have
sitting
an
there
issue.
like, man, I wish I had something to eat.
yeah, well, it was brought to me, so I'm bringing it up. But the thought of losing voters because of the break, that is a concern of mine as well, because I don't, you know.
What if you said a lunchtime? In other words, you hold your meeting until 2. And then you have lunch at 2, if the meeting's not done.
Maybe.
But you might also only have 3 articles left and say, let's just.
That's the problem with trying to set a time.
I don't know. I don't know if something we decide or they decide at the meeting.
How much time do they allot for lunch? Half hour? Or longer? I mean,
Usually it's an hour.
an hour?
That's
a
Well, until
long-
people are done and
Yeah,
they
it's,
see
it's a
their...
casual thing.
Yeah.
If it takes 45 minutes, it's 45 minutes. It's
Yeah.
not really a set. And that's why people that don't want to attend
Sure.
lunch, they leave because.
Sure, yeah.
Kills our afternoon.
Yeah.
But in that same regard, you look, once you get done the first 4 or 5 articles, you see a mass exodus too.
Yep. I've seen, well, last time it
Yeah.
was that way.
But,
Again, though, I'm not sure that it's something that we even establish. I mean, we can.
I think we could ask
set it
them,
up that way.
bring it up that way.
Yeah,
You
bring it
know,
up
this
to
is our
Monterey.
goal. We're gonna try to get through this without having lunch.
Yeah, lunch when we're
Prior
done.
to lunch.
Yeah,
prior to-
but I mean, if
Right,
it ends up at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, then that's different, but.
and we're starting at 9:30, right?
9.
9.
I can't imagine.
9,
moderator's discretion.
yeah.
That's fine with me. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's.
I've sat in meetings with this many articles and they're taking 15 minutes, so.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can, but I
Yep.
It's
know-
all around discussion.
Yeah,
Yep.
they've gone to 8, 9 o'clock before. Years past.
Has they not? Since I've been a witness,
No,
but.
me neither. I've seen 4 in the afternoon,
Yeah.
so.
I've seen 5.
The last one was quick.
I wasn't, yes, it was very nice.
Okay. Well,
See how it goes. So,
any other concerns? Item 6, committee reports.
The
Rec
rec
committee.
committee, I gave you a letter there. This is not the final draft, but there was a few edits that Jason wanted Rhonda to do. Asking businesses for donations. So that was that. They have also asked for donations from Bangor Savings and Camden National because they got turned down from the Stephen Tab, the King grant, which was the fencing around the new field. So they're looking for other funds on that. They've had 3 bands set for their summer concert series right now. The main community fund is one of the grants that they've asked to help sponsor that. The credit union is also sponsoring. They are multi-genre bands. Craig Stutzman and the Honky Tonkers, Ray Stafford and Josh Guthrie. 2 of them are in July and 1 is August, and they've set them for Wednesday nights. I said, well, I hope you didn't pick the 1st and 3rd. And he's like, well, whatever the band is chosen, that's kind of what they're going with. So.
Huh.
do we have to approve it?
No, I'm just keeping you apprised of.
Why don't we not approve it? It's on the night we have a meeting, so we all can go.
No, I don't think we can do that.
Sorry.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Item 7, new business, food sovereignty is item A. Last time we spoke, I think we were looking for some clarification as to whether the petition could be withdrawn. And what sort of latitude was allowed with that. And according to MMA, a petition cannot be withdrawn. I guess an individual that signs it can withdraw their signature, but you can't withdraw a petition. So that is not an option.
So the petition has 60 days, is that correct?
That's correct as well. There's no resetting the clock.
Okay.
You have 60 days to act on it.
Timeline for action.
Yeah. It doesn't have to, there does not have to be a meeting within the 60 days, but you have to act on it within the 60 days. And you can,
What does that mean by when you say you have to act on it?
you either have to agree to put it on a warrant or deny
reject
it, reject it.
Or set a meeting date, or a
You could-
meeting at which it would be addressed.
Right.
Meaning a meeting that it has to be on a warrant to be approved?
Right.
So, and we have agreed that we.
Our problem is, we've got a legal hurdle.
Right.
Yeah.
In order, and the board really hasn't made a motion or taken an action in this direction yet, but we've all read the same material. We essentially are cautioned not to proceed with an ordinance of this type without spending some money on legal.
Right.
And right now, we're not in a position to do that. So it's pretty much a fait accompli that I don't see us advancing this, that's my opinion, but we haven't officially made a motion to reject this petition.
All we have right this time, we have the opinion of MMA that says it's not to. We can't spend any legal funds. So we can't do anything anyway, legally, until after town meeting. In the 60-day, you're not gonna get anything back in time.
Right.
What is the 60-day date?
It's from the 16th of February.
16th of February? So,
So it'd be after your first meeting in April.
Yeah.
Incidentally,
Okay.
at least, I'm not sure how many, but at least 5 more towns have adopted it this town meeting season.
this cycle, it's gonna be on there, oh, the articles have already gone through.
Yeah, it's already been adopted by 5, including Parkman, First, and Piscataquis County, where they adopted it unanimously.
Huh, I wonder if any of those towns have gotten legal counsel.
I have no idea. It was, one of the pieces that we got from MMA said that they hadn't seen one yet that they would sign off on, even though
Right.
there are many
Right,
municipalities have passed it
right.
or accepted it.
One of the things they said they have not seen yet is reference to what happened in state law this past summer. But the 2018 version that I gave you addresses that. So I think what they're saying is that, what Llewellyn was saying, is that he hasn't seen any that were adopted on the 2018 version, they've been adopted on the prior version. Which, of course, didn't have that language yet because the state law hadn't been changed.
Right. It's very possible.
I mean, everything we have right now says, I don't know, I mean.
Yeah, we don't have the funds to do the due diligence.
Right.
So, and we talked a little bit last time that, another avenue for this, rather than doing another petition, would be to work with the planning board. This board, I think, would be inclined to set up a committee to help move this ahead. I think at the end of the day, an ordinance that had the support of the planning board and a committee made up of citizens and the select board, if you could put that on a warrant, it's pretty apt to pass.
And also legal counsel
Well, because it's not gonna get there without
right.
us all, and I think even the planning board, they're very cognizant of that. So if we get to a point where one of the things that we have never done, not that it's really our place with this petition, is I don't know anything about the merits of this. So if we had a committee and my planning board was involved, I'm sure all of us would learn a lot. I don't really know anything about it, but that's not really what our mission is here today.
And the towns that you said there were 5 towns that are this season?
In that list that I circulated last time,
Okay.
5 of them on the lower part of the list have moved to the top part of the list.
And they're all based on pre-2018?
Well, I'm not sure about the current ones. I think, Brooke and I both went to the public hearing in Parkman, and they were using the older version.
Does that make sense?
Because it hadn't come out, the 2018 version hadn't come out yet, the new model.
So.
But it's out now.
It's out now.
Right.
So I don't know if the towns that adopted in the past 2 or 3 weeks changed what they had on the warrant to the new.
See, that to me
I
just
know.
speaks to
I
put the
know.
brakes,
I know.
tap the brakes a little.
Right.
But all of those simply need to be amended. In a
Well,
subsequent.
I don't understand the thought process of amending something or approving
If you know.
something that you know before you approve it, that you gotta amend it. Or you're potentially are gonna amend it.
That's right, but I don't know of the 5 towns, I don't know if any of them has the older model or the new model.
Right, and we're only assuming that the only
Yes.
issue is that one.
Right.
Once
could
we
delve
get a legal
into it.
opinion, there may be several areas
Right.
of concern, but we don't know that.
Right.
That one particular item is so obvious that even you folks have addressed it, but there may be other items, I don't know.
Yep.
Is the June primary, is that reasonable enough time to review committee, blah, 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 for the June?
That's what Jay's doing.
That was Jay's doing.
I mean, just from a time frame perspective, from what you're looking at now.
It might be, I mean,
Or would it,
yeah.
do you have to look at November or a special or whatever?
Well, what you have to take into consider is this town is what they call an open town meeting town, whereas J is a secret ballot town, so they can vote at the primaries in June or in November at the ballot box. We can't do that here.
But you have to have the open town.
You'd have to have a
forum.
special.
Oh, it'd be a special anyway,
Right.
oh, okay, okay. Yep.
They just put it on as an item on their ballot.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But, okay,
A
that's,
local ballot.
so, it's, well. But,
That's the way the cities would do it.
but later on in the summer, you know, there could be other warrant articles for
Yes.
special.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember in the last few years, us making it through the summer without a special.
Right, okay, so.
So I mean, I definitely believe we don't have one planned,
Well, no, but
but
I mean, as this progresses, that would
Yeah.
lead to one at this point, that would be.
Yes.
Well, in fact, that scenario, if the planning board is working with a committee and reporting back to the select board, and this thing kinda hits critical mass, you could have a special just for that purpose.
sure.
Yeah.
Lois, do you know if any of these other towns, I mean, I know that you network with other town managers, have sought legal counsel with regard to these?
Just Jay,
Just J.
that's all.
Private legal counsel, not MMA.
No, I don't know if they've gotten private legal counsel. I think they're in the process of doing that right now.
And
But they have until June.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we should do it properly the first time and get it right. And, I mean,
You mean the 2018 model?
2018 model, we've been advised via Jay, you know, of sort of a blanket admonition, like, oh, I don't touch this unless you had. So why would we move ahead when we've been told that we should have legal counsel guide us through the ordinance?
I agree.
I agree. It's
I
pretty.
mean, maybe we're missing, I mean,
In other words, I mean, Jay's kind of in the same boat we are right now.
Right.
Is there a possibility of reaching out to them and see if the two towns can't work together and try to, because there's no sense for Jay to look at legal and us to
Right.
look at legal, and we're both gonna develop the same thing when it's done. Is there a chance that we may be able to partner with
collaborate.
them?
I mean,
And move
does
this-
that sound?
Can I pose a question to
Yeah.
you though? In the great tradition of New England, this is a town meeting form of government. And one of the greatest things about it is the fact that citizens can petition to vote on things to change the future of that town. And this is one of those instances where a petition with sufficient number of signatures, valid signatures, is presented well within the time frame to have been put on the warrant. And it hasn't been. And I don't think there's much of a reason why it shouldn't be. And a special town meeting coming up in the summer, you can do a nebulous postponement until the next available meeting or something like that. But I think that it would not be good precedent to reject a petition at this point. One of the things that's happening with this food sovereignty is, maybe to stretch the analogy a little far, but it's sort of like declaring independence. And that may have been perceived as illegal by the people who were being revolted against, but that's what this is. And as the individual number of towns grows, eventually the whole state is just gonna reach that critical mass where they just say, food sovereignty in the state of Maine. And so what we're trying to get is a number of towns towards that tripping point. And hopefully Sangerville will be one of those very soon.
For me, it really has nothing to do with food sovereignty. You could be, your petition could be addressing any number of issues. When I reach out, we could sometimes flippantly say, well, MMA's free, use them. It's not free. Actually, we pay a lot of money to
Be a member. Right?
to be a member.
Right.
And it's collective, as you know, most of the municipalities are involved. And when they respond to us with basically a very cautionary get legal counsel before you advance this. An ordinance is about as weighty a thing as we can do. And we, the three of us, are the gatekeepers. It's up to us to make sure that what ends up on that warrant should be there. And there's very few reasons that we can reject a legitimate petition. Legal is one of them. So for us to get a petition that gets a reaction from MMA that says, do not proceed without your own legal counsel, I think it would be reckless for us to advance this. Now, this could be a fantastic cause. And you may be right. We may get to critical mass and the whole state goes that way anyway. So I guess my feeling is, if it happens for us next year, so be it. But for us to advance an article where MMA has already told us don't do it without getting legal counsel, and
Same thing.
it's yeah.
They would tell us the same thing if we asked them and presented them
Sure.
the same
Yeah,
exact
I mean,
ordinance.
Right, no,
their
that's-
position is the same in their publications. This is a very hot topic right now. So, yeah, if we were going to do this, we would have to allocate some funds to spend on a legal opinion for the town. And they would help us draft our ordinance, I'm sure.
And we can't do that.
And we can't do that. So,
Now, on the side note, when you did come to the planning board before, and you did present
Twice,
this.
actually.
But that, I was there at one of those.
Yep.
And that was what was recommended to you then, was to work with the planning board. So there would be time to get this on a warrant.
Well, I distinctly remember talking with Jerry about it at the meeting, and the discussion was that, for all intents and purposes, the planning board deals with land use issues, and this ordinance does not, per se, deal with land use issues.
Correct.
And so he didn't see it as part of their domain.
Correct, but there was 2 selectmen at that meeting that recommended that you work with the planning board to get them on board,
So
so
I
we
went
could
back-
get it legal, so we could move this forward.
So I went back to them and met with them and Brooke, and we had, as I mentioned before here, a very lengthy discussion, and all of them were in support of it.
That's not the
And-
legal part, though.
Oh,
That's the
right.
problem.
Right.
Well, there are no lawyers on the planning board.
No.
I understand that, but working with the planning board, through the board, we could have got legal involved to make sure the ordinance as presented was gonna be not what MMA is suggesting, is what I'm saying. That's why the meeting that I went to, I thought that was the intent, or what, the direction it was gonna go in.
That wasn't
And
clear.
then I didn't hear anything after that. Nobody came to another, it never got brought up again in a selectmen meeting until you presented it. So,
Our intent otherwise is to have both the South Sangerville Grange and the East Sangerville Grange hold public informational meetings about this. Both of them are on board with this. Prior to a hearing, which has to precede the meeting at which it's adopted. And at those info meetings would be where you learn a great deal, I'm sure. But those meetings never got triggered because this never got popped out.
but before you have an informational meeting, it needs to go to legal counsel, so that
No,
you're
it doesn't
informing,
necessarily.
but you should be informing your public of what you're gonna present as an ordinance. And we can't present it as an ordinance until it goes through legal counsel.
I believe you can.
Well, we
we could,
We could,
Yeah.
but I
We're not
believe it
going
would be
to.
reckless.
yes.
And the town has no liability with this ordinance.
Well, their ordinances typically have an enforcement component, they have a defense component, and someone's gotta pay for that. So if we believe, for example, that our citizens are not being treated fairly due to this ordinance, I think it would be incumbent upon us to defend the citizens. If the federal government is overreaching, or the state government is overreaching, who's gonna defend them? Who's gonna spend the money to make sure that their rights are protected under this ordinance? We have to. Nobody else is going to. So, and I'm just total speculation, I'm guessing that that's where MMA is going with this, is either the enforcement component or the defense component. If Hannaford brings suit against Sangerville because Sangerville's doing something that they say is illegal, and the state is on the side of Hannaford, someone's gonna spend some money. I don't, these are made up scenarios, but.
Well, it's not really, because you, especially in this scenario, you have Stutzman's Farm that sells a lot of this type of stuff that we'd be dealing with in this ordinance. So if we pass this ordinance and for whatever reason, they didn't like it, and they tried to put a suit against us, we're gonna be liable for all that legal, to defend it.
So I'm not even aware of anything that this is correcting. That's how little I know about it. I'm sure that you have examples in Sangerville or near Sangerville of cases that you don't want it to occur, or something has happened. But I don't know what this even corrects, because that isn't the phase that we're in this. All I know is that when it comes to this particular ordinance, MMA says, don't proceed without legal counsel. Have them draft your ordinance. And they underlined it in capital letters. And so I'm finding it really difficult to say, to heck with them, and let's just advance it.
Well, that's, as was discussed last time, that was the question of, is it possible to pull the petition back?
Which
No.
you can't. We didn't know that, and that's why we delayed this till today. So I personally, I don't see a lot of outs here. This petition, as it stands, I'm not gonna vote to advance it.
No, and I don't, with the 60-day deadline, but when we get out of town meeting for the date that we have to have an answer, we don't have time to get anything through legal either to advance it. So even if we started the legal process, we still wouldn't be able to get it advanced within the 60-day window.
George?
So at some point, the board has to, so like in April, whatever, they vote,
16.
okay, they vote, no, we're not gonna, recognize the petition, but can the board in good faith still proceed with whatever they need to do to satisfy the people that presented
Well, I think
the
we were all
petition?
Yes.
unanimous last time about that.
I mean, if you vote no, you're not gonna just drop it and that's the end of it.
Well,
Or where does that?
The avenue of, for example, forming a committee, creating a dialogue with the planning board, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
that's a whole different
Right,
avenue.
yeah.
The bottom line is, funds are not allocated to do research on this,
Right, until after, right, I
right?
understand that.
I mean, they haven't,
Yeah.
there's no expenditure for this.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's why we were kind of brainstorming, saying maybe go the other way.
Yeah.
Create kind of a critical mass with a committee, with the planning board, and maybe that isn't possible, I don't know.
Got it, thank you.
I think trying to ally ourselves with some of these other towns that are dealing with the same issue and see if we can all somehow share legal costs or whatever. I don't know if that's something that towns do. If we're all working toward the same thing and we intend to have an ordinance like this because of the number of people in our town that are interested in it, then we just want to do it properly so that, because trust me, there's people out there, if we're told we should seek legal counsel and we don't,
That's it.
so our hands are tied. We have to. So, but it would be great if we could perhaps all be working towards the same thing with some of these other towns so that it isn't, and that's the other thing, is the cost of the legal. That's going to be an issue.
I can see a scenario where you had a committee, if your planning board, was in line, your select board now is, everybody feels like they know what this is about, they feel like there's a need, I could see a special meeting being, because you're gonna need a special to get approval for the funds to do the legal.
So you're saying the
So you-
special would be prior.
First, you're gonna have to get the money.
Yeah.
So the board would have a special, say, we're behind this, we think this has merit, we have a committee that believes this has merit, we have a planning board that believes this has merit, and we want some money to get a legal opinion, to draft what we think is a worthy document. So there's several more steps in this, I imagine. Now, I suppose you could put it before the voters, and in that question, you're asking for funds, and if they don't approve the funds, then
That's what
it
I'm
doesn't
thinking.
fly.
That's what
but-
I'm thinking.
Yep.
I mean, you know, to put it out there and say, does the town want us to spend money to move
To
this
draft,
ordinance
yeah.
forward?
Well, or at least to get an
Because-
opinion.
Right.
Yeah, an opinion of the possibility of moving this.
Right. There's some of the articles that I read, and I'm not taking this side, but some of the attorneys were saying, it's, I'm paraphrasing, it's like a solution in search of a problem. Like, we don't see a need for this, but that's just one attorney's opinion.
Right, I've read that as well.
But we can't spend that money.
No, I know that, and it,
So it's a little catch-22.
it is. It is. I mean,
So
Is that
before we go and ask for the money,
right,
I think we would want to know, we would want to be on board.
right.
And I'm not saying we're not on board, we're not really
I don't-
informed.
The topic, correct, the topic itself hasn't been my focus. My focus has been the legality aside of moving an ordinance through. So, I mean, the people, that's what the people want, is what they want. My side is to make it,
Sure, it's legal.
But I'm willing to commit that I'm interested enough to educate myself. I would attend meetings, I'd ask hard questions, try to get those answers, and at the end of the day, if we feel like it has merit, I'd be the first one up there saying, let's ask for money to advance this thing.
I think you would find too, as you deepened yourself in this a bit, you may be like us and not so willing to spend money on legal, that you might just see the benefit of what it's about.
Possible,
Yep.
possible, but as Jody said, for us to unilaterally just say, well, we'll kind of ignore what MMA is, because MMA is pretty, they don't take this strident position very often.
No,
They quite often will say, well, contact your own attorney, but this was
we
very cautionary.
caution, yeah,
and underlined.
So that's really
right.
the
So-
crux of where we're at today.
Right, and you're saying, you may not wanna hear what legal has to say because they're not gonna be on, is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh,
I'm thinking that once you understand the ordinance and look at the ordinance itself rather than the issues you've been saddled with, you know, as in your role here, but just looking at the ordinance itself, you may come to realize that it's fine.
No.
And you can get into fights at town meetings about, you know, are you supposed to put mustard on a hamburger or ketchup? And there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna be in your face about whatever you do.
Yeah, but MMA is not gonna come back with a strong opinion of mustard versus
Oh, yeah,
ketchup.
that's MMA. MMA is not looking at it from the point of view of we the citizens. They're looking at it from.
They're looking at a court perspective. Is this gonna hold up? Are you gonna be able to write this and go to court, and the court is gonna award in your favor? When they're saying caution, that tells me it's not written that it's gonna hold up in court.
Right.
and or we're gonna end up getting sued
Correct.
and
You
we
may
are.
have to defend this,
Right,
Right.
or enforce it.
And it's our responsibility to watch out for the town, so,
So,
Okay.
alright, so as a petition, I mean, we gotta go to the 16th. Are we better off to go to the 16th? Are we better off to?
No, but we need to take action between
Yeah.
the time that it's submitted and now. I think we know everything we need to know. I think we need a motion.
Oh, so you think we, right now, make a motion to,
We're gonna, if you feel this petition should be rejected, I think we need to make a motion to do that. If it should be advanced, then it gets advanced.
advance to
The warrant.
The
the
warrant.
warrant?
It can't be advanced to the warrant this Saturday.
Not this Saturday,
Oh, that's what I thought Jody meant when she.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
No, it would ultimately go before the town.
Correct.
At a special town meeting.
That's special.
Special, or it could wait until the next available town meeting.
But it's the petition as it's written.
It's just the petition, it's not the idea.
Oh, oh. Oh. Well, I'll make a motion to advance the petition as written. And that then, I mean, as long as I know what I'm,
But that petition as written needs to be amended.
Right, it's not even,
It's not correct.
oh, okay.
because he's
Then
presented the
You haven't
2017, not the
seen-
2018.
Oh, I thought you, okay, the petition, I thought the
the
petition with all
problem.
the signatures.
Right.
Is the two-
That needs to be amended.
Okay.
That isn't correct.
Okay.
That's the other part. of it.
Well, and I'm of the personal position that I wouldn't advance that petition
Okay.
until I have the town's legal provide us with an opinion.
Okay,
That's, to me, it's a pretty simple decision.
okay.
That's where I stand, but.
So nobody seconds mine, so let's
Withdraw.
withdraw it. Yep.
So do we reject the petition as written?
We simply
until-
don't advance it.
Oh, so we don't reject it, we don't advance it.
I think,
Is that the terminal, that's what I'm looking for, is what is the actual terminology? Because I've never been in part of this.
For rejecting a petition?
Do we reject it? Do we not move it forward? What do we?
I don't think it matters how you word it.
Well, it kind of does.
I would reject it. You've got this here, and this is, I mean, you can use some of this wording. It says, in a case decided by the Maine Supreme Court, it was held that the municipal officers of Portland could not be compelled by the court to submit to the voters an ordinance that, if ratified, would be invalid.
Oh.
So does
that's
that help you?
interesting. Where is that? Oh,
It's the second page, the first page is it says withdrawal of petition.
Oh.
It's the second page.
So, I mean, that basically defines
Which
it for us.
example did you read?
Example 1, even if enacted petitioned ordinance would be invalid.
I'm still stuck on the wording.
So if that's the example, would you implying that this is a useless act?
Have you read timeline for action on open town meeting petitions?
That's on the third page.
Yeah, 105. Shall within 60 days call a special,
But read the second paragraph.
yeah, statute so completely. It looks like we're either going to approve it, or in other words, grant, or not. I'm reading it, this, not the paragraph, but, wherever time is of the essence, however, the municipal officer should not set the date for a vote so far into the future that the vote would be of no assistance to the petitioners. For instance, if a petition is to approve a grant application.
But that's irrelevant in this case.
Correct. But the process that we're involved in right now is to either grant this or not. That's the way I see this. It has nothing to do with the merits of the ordinance. And it's, I think, a fairly simple one. If you believe the warning from MMA is worthy or concerns you, then you're not gonna grant this.
Right.
If you think you can look past that, then you are gonna grant this. And that's kind of, I'm trying to boil it down to.
Correct, but do you reject it and then state the grounds of why? So I'd make a motion to reject the petition from the statement of MMA and their concern, legal concerns.
Based on their legal
Based
concern.
on their legal concerns. Does that work?
I would second that.
Okay.
There you go.
Any further discussion?
No.
Vote? All in favor? It's unanimous. I would say, following up, that we would be supportive of a committee or helping to advance that, but it's up to you guys. Item B, April meeting schedule.
I will be on vacation the week of the 13th to the 21st.
Again?
No, it's my
I'm just
first
kidding, I'm just
vacation.
kidding. I'm
Well,
Hopefully it doesn't snow this time.
That would snow the wall.
Okay,
I can't take one.
as long as
It's me.
it's while I'm gone.
13th to the 21st.
When are you going, April what?
13th to the 21st, that's a Friday, and then the next week, but Monday's a holiday, so it's still only 5 days of vacation time.
When is our first meeting after?
Well,
That's my-
that's our question. Do you want to go the first and third? The first Wednesday is the 4th. The second Wednesday is while I'm gone. Do you want to just not have 2 meetings, or do you want to go second and fourth? Or first and fourth, or
First and fourth?
we could do second and fourth where town meeting, unless you want one right after town meeting.
Normally, there's a
One
meeting
right
held
after.
immediately after town
Well,
meeting.
because after town meeting, and that's like when we, don't go by last year, it's got messed up, but usually that's when you make all your nominations for everything. Or we-
Appointments.
Appointments, yes.
Oh,
So we tend to have that meeting very close to town meeting.
Okay, so you want April 4th?
Yep.
And the 4th, you want 2 meetings,
Yep.
the 1st and the 4th?
Maybe we could have short meetings.
When was the second one in April?
It's the fourth Wednesday. I don't know what the date is.
I mean, we can plan that for now, and if we get through that,
Right.
maybe we don't.
Calendar right there.
18, 25, April 25th.
The 4th and the 25th.
4th and 25th?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Item C, Haley's estimate on demolition of Abbey Fowler.
I emailed it, but I also printed it. And I did call him back with a request for the cost to include removing the pavement as well.
Oh, that didn't, the original one didn't include that.
No, it was the building, the slab, the underground tank. And he would fill the area where the tank was, and grade the area, but no loaming or seeding. So if you wanted to make it nice and green, it also did not include, in case the tank was leaking or anything, that any environmental cleanup. None of that is included. 123,824. And that's not the pavement.
That leaves the pavement. So it's.
It's a $200,000 deal.
Sure.
If you're gonna put.
There's gonna be a lot of hidden cost in this once we get going. I mean, that's pretty high level for anybody to look at it that way.
Right.
Okay. So,
That's good to know.
Yep.
So I think that one will be pretty close to what Mr. Howard also gave us an estimate for when you include the
Yeah.
pavement.
Yep.
And the loaming and seeding and all that.
so along with that, because we wanted this number for that article, so everybody
Right.
with awareness of what to do with the Abbey Fowler.
Right, so that wants
So,
to be, we
yeah,
want it to be
and
armed
you-
with that.
We should have these two. I
Yeah.
asked Lois to go through,
Is that this one?
nope,
Oh. But do,
It's a,
it's in there.
okay.
So,
yeah, it's that one.
isn't
Mine
that, oh,
just
it looks different? Oh.
I put lines on it.
Oh.
Jeez, Excel fancy.
I do, because then I'm good.
So, my thought process is the other piece of this is spending money for green space, because we've heard green space quite a bit. So I was just curious, and I asked Lois to look up how much property does the town of Sangerville currently own? So, as of right now, that's what the top part of it is. So, we own, including the Abbey Fowler, 583 acres of green space. So, and with that 583 acres, it has a land valuation of $451,000. And it has buildings evaluations of $494,000. That's all off the tax. So I just really think that this, you know, another, how much green space we already have that people, I don't even,
Right.
and I thought it was kinda, I went through and got the valuations, and then I just put in descriptions so I would remember where these lots are, cause some of them I couldn't figure out at first. So most of them are pretty easy. You got the Abbey Fowler, the Historical Society's building, the South Sangerville Grange, the town office parking lot, fire department, Main Street parking lot. This next one I thought was kind of interesting. It's 0.22 acres. It is actually, it's right before the bridge, the
Yeah.
Fairpoint's box.
Yeah.
Draw a circle around the box. That's the town lot.
Huh. Wow.
Why did we do that? I mean, we deeded out,
Wow.
so that's there.
Village
Yeah,
cemetery.
village cemetery. The other one I thought was really weird, why the town would ever do, but if you leave the post office and go up 23, right directly, you have the two houses that are on the left-hand side, and then the stream comes in really close to the road,
yeah.
so there's no land. And then you have that little scraggle of weeds. Okay, that is that piece of property right there, it's 0.4
Wow.
acres. Which,
Crossing stream.
I mean, like if you go to Dexter, they've got the same scenario. That land on the other side of the street belongs to the property
Oh,
across the street.
Right.
So it's still
Makes
generating a tax revenue.
Right.
So for whatever reason, we
Right.
pulled that off.
Huh.
The rec field is interesting, I guess I didn't realize that, but if you take the 19.5 for the Wells property, you add it to the $96,000 valuation of the rec field,
Whoa.
and then you add the 2,300 for the dugout value,
How much?
$96,300 for the rec field. It's all waterfront.
That's right. That's right.
It's the most valuable piece of property we have in town,
It's one of them. No doubt about it.
as far as land.
And that doesn't include any of our new stuff.
Which is
that's on
fine,
there.
it's a beautiful
But I mean,
spot
right,
and has a lot of potential, but
Right, sure.
But I think this
Sure.
is all
Yeah.
kinda,
Right.
and then we keep going, this gets a little interesting. The town garage, that sits on 0.82 acres.
Wow.
Now this is McFeeters Road, this threw me for a loop at first, there's 26 acres on McFeeters Road is how it was listed, that we own. It is on McFeeters Road, but it's also in 3 spots on Pleasant Avenue. It's all around the town garage.
oh, that's big, that's
It's
quite a
huge,
lot.
yeah, and it's actually, so, we own that piece of property, it goes, we own the town garage, then there's a house, then we have road frontage, then there's a house, then there's 2 houses, and we own more road frontage. So, I mean, at 26 acres of property, that's some really nice, could be some very nice residential, it is damp, you'd have to spend some money in there, but.
And it backs up to.
Goes all the way
yeah,
up to- Yep.
McPheeters. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yep.
so with that, for whatever reason, on where that lot actually comes back down to Pleasant,
Yeah.
there's an in-town lot, 0.2.
Small lot on Pleasant.
Yep, that
Wow.
borders the 26, so we own that. That's another house lot.
0.2.
Yep.
In town.
In-town
In
lot.
town.
These are all right in town.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's some pretty decent, it's potential there for residential. This next piece is really weird. It's actually, it's down in by the water district. So the water district has their piece, then the town of Sangerville owns this pie, it's all landlocked. And then the town of Guilford owns a piece in Sangerville, all
Oh.
in there, but I believe it's all part of the water district.
Right.
But for whatever reason, there's that pie in there. So that's, was kinda odd. Then after that is, the Center Pond boat land, and that's in there, it's a half an acre.
Oh, really? It's that,
Still, it is when you figure the road, you
Yep.
know what I mean, but you get through there. So it's valued as a half an acre.
what's that valued?
$4,900. Go figure,
And that's a pond, this
Sure.
is a mud puddle, and this is worth more.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I bet there's a lot of people that own half an acre of
Yeah.
water frontage for that, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the next 2 are the woodlots.
Okay.
So
Bean
there's
Hill.
2 lots, 250 acres on Bean Hill, and then it's roughly about the same thing, it's in behind
Yep.
the Grange up in there. So, plus, actually, that was more, sorry, it's 280.
So it's interesting, is the South Sangerville Grange belongs to the town?
Belongs to the Historical Society, which
Oh.
belongs to the town.
So
But-
Sangerville Grange does?
Yeah, that's how it's listed on the tax map, it's the Historical Society.
What about the East Sangerville Grange?
Well, no, it's not listed.
Interesting.
And the other thing that I thought was weird is none of the other cemeteries come up.
Yeah, that's the other, that was my next question.
Yeah.
And if you,
I thought
when I look
Yeah,
up
that's-
that cemetery on the actual tax map, that lot that we're calling for this would be from, it's weird how that map is, cause it only says that tax number on the piece, the new piece, basically, from Haley's up the hill.
Oh, on the south side of the,
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have that,
the
cause you've
old-
got that defining line up through there,
to the
it
road.
doesn't have a number on it, so,
Where is it?
This
By the
cemetery
village
right
cemetery?
here.
yeah.
And there's the new portion, and then of course the whole, is that Village Cemetery, that's what that one's
Yeah.
called?
Yeah.
That
So
one's-
so if you look at the tax map though, that's what I'm saying, you'll see the whole cemetery, and you see the line that goes up through it from the old to the new, and the 48 is only on the new. The side that's got, of the old cemetery, there's no number on it. One
Is there
side
a
of it
little
says,
hook
it's-
sign?
I didn't see it, I didn't notice it, so, I'm not sure, but I just thought that was kinda,
Yeah, so
with
then
no other
that's the
cemeteries
question.
listed, was
So-
weird.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, I wanna dig a little, and I got this done today. So, the other thing that I was curious about that I didn't look into is, And I would be surprised if we don't own it, or maybe the state still does, but that's before Silver's Mills, where our sign is. That used to be a rest area,
Down.
down here on 23rd.
Yeah. Oh, the picnic area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we have our,
Welcome Sangerville.
Correct.
Signs.
That used to be a picnic area.
Yeah, and you could drive right in, they had tables
Yeah.
set up and everything.
Huh.
Yeah, barbecue pits and, yeah.
Really?
so it must be still under the state, I'm assuming.
It probably is.
Or maybe it went back to landowner, adjacent landowner,
Oh,
but.
could be.
But I was gonna look for that one, and I was gonna look to see about what the cemeteries were under, I would've thought they would've come up.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have come up too.
So what, did you do a search of all town properties?
I did.
That's what you
She
did.
On the
that for me,
trio.
yeah.
Aha,
She did that, then I went through the
I
valuation book and
see,
looked
and
them
then,
all up,
and
and
figured out
Yeah.
where they were and what
then
they
look at,
were.
well, I did that first, I was hoping for a description to give you an idea.
Sure, yeah,
That
to
didn't
read.
work.
sure.
I had to go through all the tax
Every
maps
single-
and find them and figure out where the heck they were. I mean, the town office, you knew where that was.
So I'm assuming the
It could be more.
The point
It could
to
be more,
this
yeah.
is,
This is
the counter
minimum.
argument to the person that says, maybe you ought to spend $200,000 to create more green space.
Correct, that's why I did this.
We're
Nice job, Dale.
99.8% green now.
We're pretty green. We
Really?
may be lacking in a few things, but green is not
Very-
one of them.
Wow. Good, nice job, Dale. That's good stuff.
What really would have been really nice to do is to have this conversation well before we spend everything they've done at the rec field, because then I would have been entertained to get rid of that building, let's smooth that all out, and that could have been a very nice in-town rec field.
Or kids can, well, they can ride their bikes there, but they're on the
Sure.
route. They're on
But
the
I mean,
main
when you
road.
look at this tax valuation,
Sure,
what that
sure.
property down there is.
Yeah.
That is water under that
It
dam.
is, it's ours now.
So you wanted a
Just trying to,
Perspective.
good conversation
Right,
for that
right.
article, you know, yeah.
I would dare to say that 3/4 of this town
Mm-hmm.
does not realize we own anywhere near that million acreage.
Nope. Oh, no.
I personally, I knew we had 2 woodlots, I didn't realize that they were that large.
Yeah, they're big, yeah.
And I definitely didn't know we owned that 26 acres.
That's 26 acres in the
That's-
middle of town.
That's huge to me.
Well, if that's road frontage on your Peters
It's a-
Road too, so, I mean,
It's road frontage in 4 spots, I believe.
yeah, so that's, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of potential there for house lots. I mean, you could,
Elderly housing.
there you go. I mean, you could still keep a nice chunk for the town
And that's not
We should put
garages.
for sale signs on a lot of these. I'm just kidding,
All in jest.
All in jest, just trying to get a little levity here.
That's not
Okay.
accounting for the cemeteries either, so.
No, that's because we
Right.
obviously own those.
Well, and this
But-
was
which
quick. I
You
mean,
can't
we
really count that
didn't-
as green
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, clean up
I asked
trio
her this,
and, you
what, this
know.
morning?
This morning, yeah.
Yeah, I asked her if this morning she could come up with a little list.
She was surprised.
So, yeah, and then we did this.
Well, then he emailed me back, how are we gonna find acreage? And so I looked that up and sent it to him again,
I
and
was like, wow.
That's great, that was smart thinking.
All right, moving on. Well, I think we signed these, but you need a motion.
Motion, yeah.
Knowlton Mills Cemetery deeds.
I'll make a motion to approve do I have to name them all off, or?
I don't think so.
The 2 cemetery deeds.
Second.
All those in favor? It's unanimous. Old business town warrant.
We have a new warrant.
Which we have signed.
The old one.
What's that?
Withdraw the old one.
Okay, we need a motion to withdraw the old warrant.
Do we need to say what number it is, or anything like that?
No,
Just, I'll make it,
because we
Did we have a
added to
date
it.
assigned on, we don't have a date, so you really,
No.
so,
the new amendment?
Yeah, it was fine.
You got a date there?
8th day of March, 2018.
Can make a motion to replace. the warrant article to sign on the 8th of March for the one that is being signed on the 21st day of March.
I'll second.
Those in favor? All in favor, 3. Okay, that's the last alteration. But you never know.
Running out of time.
Mowing.
I just don't wanna get my fingers slapped.
I think it's more the fingers that you're concerned about.
So if you look at the competitive bid policy, the last sentence in that first paragraph says, alternatively, the town manager may solicit bids directly from vendors, which I've done, but no award will be made without the approval of the majority of the board at a regular or special board meeting. So that's where I kind of hesitate to say, well, I solicited bids, I'm gonna award them. I think that still should come from you according to the wording of that policy.
See, and I guess we can do that, but I really firmly believe the first sentence of that overrides or speaks for the entire policy.
In excess of 10,000.
Well, no, it says contract that may reasonably be expected. I think those words are very key. So you solicited bids or costs for mowing. You knew up front that there was no way they were gonna come close to $10,000.
Okay.
So
And they didn't.
and they
They
didn't.
didn't, correct.
You didn't do it. This didn't apply in any way, shape, or form. You used a bid procedure only to get cost, see who was cheaper.
Okay.
So, I still think you're good, but
Okay.
that's me.
Yeah, I totally agree with Dale. When I read that, the portion that concerns you pertains to $10,000 expenditures
Or more.
or more.
Or more, okay.
Correct. That's the way I read it.
Or if, I think it could have, if you wanted to play with this, you could say, oh, I think it might come in at 9,500. You know what I mean? You're right on that edge.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and that's where I think this is what this was designed for. If you think you're in that 9, 10, 20, yeah, then this is
Right.
what you should be doing.
Right.
This is what we need to
As
follow.
far as this mowing contract goes, I don't have a problem with
Okay.
doing this for you. I mean,
Right, I mean,
but
we're here.
the reason that I think we should all be on the same page, no pun intended, is that as you get into the busier season, we want you to be able to manage.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I don't want you to have to
Forward.
wait, gee, now I gotta wait 2 weeks before I can do
Right.
a
And-
$2,500 culvert.
Be in question at all.
Right, because on the
There's
other
no
side
question.
is, I want you to reach out to people to say, hey, I don't care what you charged me last year, what are you gonna charge me this year?
Correct.
And I don't want you to think that, or I don't want you to think that we believe that hinges you because of this.
Okay.
Because if we accept your concerns here,
Yeah.
it's gonna apply this summer and
Yeah.
on everything
On
else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I think you're good. Have you made a decision yet? Okay,
Have I told them? No, because I was waiting
alright.
after reading that.
Just because I am curious, because when we did talk about this last time, there was a question about the amount of mowings.
Right.
From S&C.
Yeah, did
Then
they
he-
understand that it's?
Well, I asked him specifically, I said, you've said it's $150 per mowing, and you're doing 20 weeks. I said, what if we need to have it done twice a week, because it says
Yeah.
mowing season, and he said, they expect to have to do more than once a week in the springtime,
Okay.
earlier on, and they make up for it towards the end of the season where they can do every other week.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so he looks at it, I made
As-
the analogy with plowing. If it needs it, we do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's what we wanted to hear.
That was perfect.
Okay, oh, so that's
Yeah.
clear. Very good.
Correspondence?
None,
No?
Request for additional agenda items?
none,
Executive session?
none.
Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second?
All in favor? It's unanimous. We are adjourned.